talk to you now about some of the opportunities for improvement. Since we were here last year, there has been a huge restructuring in HR. And while things aren't perfect, there have been a lot of change. But one of the things we heard consistently is the hiring process, the cycle time issue. And I bet all of you sitting here can guess what the biggest thing was in that cycle time issue. Fingerprints. Absolutely. That's what we heard. And so there are still some issues to be worked out about that. How quickly we get those back, or if there's a snafu and they sit on someone's desk and don't get to the place in a timely manner, or they come back and the person's on vacation and they sit a little while longer. So we heard that there's still that issue about the cycle time and how we lose good people to that process because we can't do it in a faster manner. So that was what we heard about the hiring practices. And then we also heard you say we have so many meetings. We have meetings to plan meetings. We don't have a centralized scheduling calendar, so we're scheduled in 4 places at one time, and we can't do that. So there's that whole meeting issue, and is work getting accomplished, and are they being wasteful? Now, on the flip side of that, what we heard is we've instituted let's have a meeting agenda. So some meetings have meeting agendas, which keeps us focused and on task, and we're not having that meeting just to have a meeting. But that's not a consistent practice across the system. So there's an opportunity there, or to have a centralized scheduling calendar. Another piece of the stellar people opportunities is the recognition of you folks, other than a paycheck. What we heard from you is get rid of the pens. They're meaningless to us. I threw a handful away, put them in the trash. We heard it all. We got coffee mugs. I don't need a coffee mug. What we heard consistently is we would like a heartfelt thank you. Somebody to recognize the contributions that I make as an individual to this organization. I want to be appreciated for what I do, whatever that is, inside this district. And I have to tell you all, that is not uncommon across organizations. I've worked in organizations all over the world. That is the #1 thing we hear. It's not about the reward, monetary, it's not about a party, it's not about a pen, it's not about somebody come and tell me that they appreciate my contribution to this organization. And that is absolutely what we heard across the system. I mentioned to you earlier about the us and them mentality that still exists between central services and the Hill. Central services and the buildings are other departments that aren't located in this specific building. We didn't hear the Hill so much this year, but there is still a division. And part of that is being driven by what I said to you earlier. We have administrators in this organization, I wouldn't know them if I saw them. So we've kind of created that division for us. Here's another thing. The responsiveness to each other. I have learned, this is someone that said this, I have learned who I need to call, who I need to email, or who I need to go see face to face. And you can imagine what erupted in that room. Can you share the list with us? Because there's a strong frustration about not being able to reach someone. And somebody even said, I'm not calling just to visit. If I call, it's because I need help. And I'm sure that goes two ways. It may not just be coming in to central services. You may experience the same problem going out and trying to reach folks in another department or another building. So that whole us and them is being reinforced by the fact that we're not responding to each other. We've got, I heard, I don't get returned phone calls. People don't respond to my emails. I never hear from folks. By the time I hear from them, it doesn't matter anymore. I've had to move on with whatever it is. So again, another opportunity. Part of that could be a communication problem, but it's another opportunity for us to come together as a whole and work for the district instead of our individual school or our individual department. And I didn't say this, but you all call this out yourself. We are siloed. We work within our own department. We don't understand the connections and how best we can work together for the good of this district. Okay? So there's a disconnect. We do really, really good stuff within our own domain or our own department, but we're not so good at understanding those connections and working across the system. Efficient and effective processes. Oh, wow. This is another something that's not going to happen overnight. But it's an important thing because you all have so many good things happening in this district, but you don't have the processes or the systems to support them. So we've got these processes. We talked a minute ago about the restructuring of human resources. We heard, while everything's not perfect, there have been huge changes in the way things happen. The HR generalists that have been assigned, making big difference. We heard very positive things about that. So there are things, the fact that when you go and do something with human resources, you have an opportunity to fill out a comment card or do a little short survey, and so that they can have some immediate feedback. So things are starting to change.